this is Kaidus for My Gaming Edge. This is my first video for the site, so I'm just going to be taking you through quite a standard game. It's on CPU Obscure against PwR Gaming in ESL. So let's go ahead and hit resume and get on with it. I messed my jumps up a bit with the first run, but only ever so slightly, so it won't be too difficult to cope on mid against the other demo. I get to mid, I start off, I just want to fire some stickies onto their demo. I see a sniper come top left pretty much now, very quickly on. So I see him, I drop down, try and avoid him. I try and get in a useful position, but he catches me just on the transition. So that's pretty much mid. That's mid over for our team now. You can't cope without a demo that early, plus we lose our soldier. The rest just trying to get out and stay alive so we can do something on 2. But without a demo and a soldier, they're going to push straight onto us, and it's looking quite bleak already. I saw a combo goes into the left house. They're going to hide and try and do something, sneak up on the enemy so that we can hopefully save this point. I wait in position, I don't go too aggressive because I know that I can't get Ubered straight away because of the way they're coming from, so I just come in later. I lay down some damage, I trap the soldier, try to stop him from getting out. He does, but we have significant man advantage now, so we keep going with it. X-Vane sees something behind, so he's just backtracking. I go ahead, I see the sniper again, I don't want to get picked for a second time in a row, so I just get straight onto him. I chase him out. But the scout comes, I think I've done enough damage to make him not come out, but I haven't, so he comes out and takes me down. There was no real need to stand there spamming pipes, I could just laid some stickies and let us focus on the point. The only reason they would have come out is because he thought he could pick me, which he could do. So now we can't push because I've gone down. Quite a not a crucial mistake because we still are in a situation to push as soon as I respawn, but it would have been nice to keep going, to keep the advantage we had, the momentum, but no big deal. Everyone's alive, they've waited for me. We're going to push from right side now. It's going to be Uber versus Uber, no medics died. I take a nade really stupidly. We get in on them, we just Uber them out. I try to do damage to those that aren't Ubered. I take down the sniper. Try to delay the medic, but I don't really do much. I dead the stickies just a little bit too early, and while that's going on, a soldier comes in, takes down our soldier. We haven't done enough damage here. They're pushing back out on us, so we're getting chased down. We have to get out. We lost too many people to stay there. It's just me and Miralin. I hold up a mid. I expect them to push, but I can delay them a little bit. The demo comes in, and I just want to pause right here at 2416. Basically this demo's jumped in. Even though I'm alone, I try to stay and pick him off because he jumps ahead of his team, so I know I have time to get a few shots off before I'm in danger of getting picked myself. So I stay. As you see, I land the first nade. I actually miss the second nade, so at that point I know that basically I haven't done what I tried to do, so rather than staying and trying to get the last few bits of damage off on him, I just decide to leave at this point. It was worth it because I felt pretty safe, knowing that as long as I didn't waste too much time there, I could maybe kill him and get out alive, or maybe not kill him but still get out alive. So that's what I do. So now I just fall out and let's hit resume. So my medic fell out the other way because he knows what I'm doing. So I go in and meet up with him. He's been with a soldier since I fell out left, but we can't do anything on the mid. We can't contest. So we're just basically holding up. The Ubers are equal. Both the medics stayed alive. And such is the nature of Obscure, we've basically just switched possession of the mid, and now in the opposite position we were a moment ago. As a demo, I'll always pretty much focus on the right. It's really easy to hold this completely by myself. X-Vane's decided to stay with me, because I'm most likely because he knows they're there, and he's right, they are there. We force them quickly. I don't chase my medic, I don't go in with him because I don't want him to have to multi-Uber because I know we have a little bit of time advantage on it. I do some damage to the demo, so I know I can start moving in with my team now. I meet up with my medic again. I see the demo, but I leave him because I also see the soldier on my right who's not being watched by anyone. I knew that Mafu, their demo, was being focused down by X-Vane, so there was really no need to go for him as well. We got 6 down, so I'm going ahead. I'm going to try and hold them up in spawn. That soldier doesn't expect it, so he goes down. Must be some miscommunication on behalf of them because now the sniper just walks out and lets me kill him. The soldier comes out, I don't kill him, but my team's there now. So the soldier goes down in a moment. So once again, we're gonna get 2 with losing no one, and we got a 3-man advantage, and we're almost about to get Uber. So we're gonna slow push here. We don't want to overcommit because we're gonna have Uber in a moment. Even though we maybe could have done it because we had the man advantage, there was no need to commit there. So we just wait up. We get the Uber in a few seconds, and it'll be a straightforward push because we have Uber and 6 players alive, and they have no Uber. Uber off. We take down the medic quickly. Take down a soldier. I sticky up the left because I noticed some people going into spawn. They would probably expect me to sticky up the right because that's the most obvious place, but I also noticed that the heavy had vanished that they'd had before. So I expected him to come from there, and he did, so he was useless because of it. So I hit my jumps this time, so I want to be trying to do a little bit more on mid. I'm also aware of a sniper, so I won't be making the same mistake twice. They don't use a sniper this time, I don't think. They have 2 scouts. Hit the demo quite a bit. So even though I hit him a bit, we don't really get much from it because he lands some nice stickies over the box, but I land some lucky spam and X-Fame finishes him off, so that's their demo down, which means we need to really be getting into their faces now. They've lost a massive load of spam potential. They can't like hold the long passage that is the obscure midpoint without a demo. It's a really long, straightforward thing. Without a demo spamming it up, you can just walk over the point, and that's what we did basically, and they had to drop out because of it. They've lost the demo. They had lost the demo, so they don't want to commit to this point. But we get distracted for a long time trying to fight away the scout, and this scout has calmed that to his team. So now, basically, what's going to happen is they're going to crits out and they catch us out of position. And even though we had Uber, they got a few good picks, 3 good picks even, before we managed to get the Uber off because we were all so distracted. Merlin gets out luckily, but even if it was Uber versus Uber, we would have a disadvantage now. But since it's crits, we at a major disadvantage, even though we stayed alive. We have to back out. Half our team is still down, including the demo, which pretty much loses your area of denial potential. So we just have to hold up on 2 again. There's a bit of a miscommunication here about what we're going to do, if we're going to give up 2 or just try and bomb their crits, and it shows because as the crits are now from the left, I'm in the middle of nothingness. I'm the demo, I should really be holding down that point, I should be spamming them and not letting them get in so easily, but for some reason, which eludes me at the moment because the game was a long time ago, I'm not sure why I was so far back and not being useful to my team. So that was my mistake really. But it was a bit of a mess. They haven't actually dominated the point or wiped us. We still have players alive, and they have lost players also. They still have their medic, but he's just about to get picked if I'm right. Nope, maybe I was not. Yeah, there he goes. A little bit early. But that's their medic down now, so we know we can definitely hold this point if we just land our shots. We don't, so I'm getting the hell out of there. They come in en masse. We have a medic back though, so we can spam this point down. They have no heals at the moment. I get distracted by 2 scouts though. I consider going back for a second, but the scout comes to help me. He fends the scouts off so I can spam the point up and not let them cap it. As a demo, you really don't want to get distracted by scouts because most of the time, even though they have a lot of damage dealing potential and are very powerful classes, they're the hardest class to do damage to as a demo, and when you have an important job to be doing, you can't be focusing on scouts, because if they don't want you to hit them, then really there's no reason why you should hit them. You get the odd lucky shot, but if they're deliberately dodging you and just trying to waste your time, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna have to spend a lot of ammo on them, even if you have good aim. So I leave them for the scouts and they get rolled basically, and we take mid. We now have an Uber advantage, but I'm not sure if we've pushed quick enough to utilise it. I see the scouts on the right are going unchecked, so I have to slow up for them. X-Fane takes the Uber in. We don't kill their medic, we don't enforce any potential Uber they have, so now they're probably going to Uber out on us. Yep, and here they come from the right. We don't have Uber anymore, but apparently they don't have the Uber ready. Notice the demo on the left, he hasn't noticed me, so he's an easy pick. That's 1-2. They now finally Uber, but they've lost players, we've lost players, but I see them come through middle, and they come out on our combo, so I jump over them, distract them, bring them back. The Uber's useless, and the announcer is my team's cue to come in and back me up, and they basically get sandwiched, and we take the point. Our mids on this map, we don't really do a lot differently. It's not the most versatile of mids. Going aggressive doesn't tend to work for us, so we don't jump like crazy. We always spam and wait for some kind of advantage to present itself, such as one of them coming aggressive and getting picked off, or you know, some lucky shots landing and giving us a damage advantage so that we can get in and get kills, basically. Like that, I landed some damage so our soldier got aggressive, but it didn't work out. The scouts came in to clean up in the end. Our scouts clean up after the damage that me and the soldier did, and I can chase the demo out with some stickies and he goes down. So this is a significant advantage for us, especially since the demo died. Their medic's still alive though, so you want to chase him, we want to chase him quickly, because we know we have an advantage here, and essentially they don't want to Uber here because they know they can't do anything with it. But we can't. I want to pause just here at 50744. Basically here we weren't expecting them to push out. We killed a significant amount on mid. We have presence on CP2. Both teams have Uber though, and by this point they will have most of their team alive, if not all of them. So we were wrong to not expect a push because they're already losing and we're going on towards their last. So if I was PwR Gaming, I'd think about pushing as well, but for some reason in the heat of the game this didn't occur to us. So I'm looking the other way while they're just Ubering out of left now. I don't have stickies there because I expected them to just passively spam the point rather than actively come out and defend it. So I was sticking balcony to prevent a demo coming and spamming us down, or a scout just jumping out to suicide on the med. But what ended up happening is they push out from left. I have no stickies there, so their Uber is going to be a lot more useful for them than it would have been had I just stickied the left door, because that's the quickest way they can get out, it's the most direct way they can get out, but it's also quite a narrow choke point. So if I have stickies there, then either they're going to take damage on the players that aren't Ubered, they're going to get blasted back and waste some of their Uber time, or they're going to lose position as they come out because the stickies are going to blast the players around. Any of those three things is really useful in defending a push, but I didn't do it, so let's see what happens. Going to hit resume now. So they come out, they force our Uber, they make us have to multi-Uber a lot, they only Uber the one player. We get the cap, but essentially we haven't got position anymore. And they're free to just come in, obliterate us essentially. They had us surrounded, we were completely sandwiched, had no position, we had no time on the Uber. You should always expect when a team Ubers into you, you should always expect to get extra time on the Uber. But because our positioning was so terrible for the situation, we had to multi-Uber a lot and they only had to Uber the one player. And he could just come straight for us. So we've lost two, we've lost mid. They have a big Uber advantage. So once again, we have to defend quite passively here. We can't defend close to the choke because if they come aggressive, we're just going to get caught in the aftermath of their Uber. So we hold far back, we try and spam them. So the soldier jumps in to force it early. We stay back so that if they do Uber, which they have now done, they can't just take out the Uber out on us and destroy us. They only killed one person with a Uber, so we can actually put up some defense here. I start spamming from the top. I have to drop out a little bit. I hear that we have Uber, so I'm waiting on top, ready to go. I hear we're about to Uber out, so I come in. I take down the demo and scout. It's basically the reverse situation of what happened a moment ago. They weren't in position for our push off of one, just as we weren't in position for their push off of one. And that's twice in a row now that the lack of preparedness has enabled one team to push off and retake two. Or in that case, they never quite got the cap, but they would have assumed they had it down. We basically wipe them, so we leave our scouts to cap and we're moving on to two to try and get some presence on it before they take up good positioning. It's worked, they have not taken up good positioning, so I can chase down the medic and the soldier here and they both go down. See the demo and the scout, I take a pipe on the scout, he goes down. The soldier's about to jump in and take down a medic, which is a really unlucky series of events. Yeah, I was too busy looking at a demo, a soldier comes from behind, but he goes down, the demo goes down. Whilst it was unlucky we lost our medic, it was kind of a bad play on PwR's part because they essentially lost their entire team for it, apart from this one scout here who's got no hope of defending last. But it was a tough situation for PwR because they just lost their medic and they knew that we were going to take two and get Uber to push with last two, so they made a decision. Well, they made a decision when they basically had only two bad choices. It didn't work out as it should not have done, so it's a good round for us. So once again, pretty much the same mid fight as before. I beat the demo, I spam him. I keep just spamming because it's just such a long point that you have such a long walk to actually be able to do a lot of damage, like a demo likes to do on, for instance, Badlands. When you're on the point on Badlands, you can pretty much spam every player at once, whereas on this map they're so spread out and far away that it's just no good. I had to reload there and I dropped back and a soldier caught me by surprise, but the overall damage output from the team was greater than theirs. I'm just walking to 2, team is already on it. But basically, I'm gonna pause it just here at 65030. I'm on 75 HP. I didn't expect my team to be in quite such a committed situation when I arrived, and the soldier in front of me, Leon, has just taken the med pack. So I've basically had to arrive in this situation where there's a lot of firing going off, there's a lot of fighting. Basically every player in the game is there, so a medic has a lot of healing to do, and players are already getting shot at and are already taking the lead in the fight. I'm essentially not involved. In order to become involved, I have to go into the middle of the fight with only 75 HP, which is not a good idea, seeing as our medic will be having to heal the people in front, and he will not be able to come back from me because they need the heals because they're in the front and they're taking the fire. So rather than committing to this fight with them, I have to stay out and just do long range damage, because if I was to go in and commit, chances are I would die before the medic has a chance to heal me properly. Even though it's not great because a demo is really important, it's just the unfortunate circumstance we find ourselves in here. So let's hit resume now and see what's going to unfold because of it. Yeah, just as an opportunity arose where I could get healed, a scout flanks and takes down a medic, so it's a fail. I continue to spam for a little bit longer, but I know that there's nothing coming of this, so as soon as I see someone come for me, I'm out of there. Once again, it's a long midpoint, so I can stay in, but just not too close, and still have comfortable time to fall out. So scout pushes from left, he's alone, so I spam him. More players come in, so I get out. Our medic's here though, and a soldier goes in to try and suicide on the med. I lay down some spam just in case that extra stick is going to help, but essentially I know not to commit in this situation. X-Fin's simply going for suicide. There's no collective push here, apart from Fishu, who's out of position really. We don't want to be losing 2 people to a suicide, not when we're leading. We don't really need to take risks in this situation. We're winning the game, we can happily defend for a while. There's no chance of them rolling through 2 and a last before we get an Uber, so really we should have sailed it, but we lost some players, so now we're forced to back out of 2 without making them use Uber. I think they might not have had Uber yet, but we didn't, because we lost the players. They could have pushed without Uber, and if they did have the Uber, they didn't have to use it because we didn't have enough players to make them use it. But we have an Uber on last, we kept our medic alive, so like I said, it's not too bad. We're winning, we can defend quite happily. We don't need to take excessive risks at this part of the game. The Uber in. The Uber a lot earlier than us, so really we should be feeling comfortable here. We'll take down a soldier. Now there, I'm not sure if you caught it, but just to the right, I just saw a scout's head, but I only saw that now that I rewatched the demo. In mid-game I didn't actually catch that guy because it was just a faint head on the right side of my screen while I was trying to focus on the combo that's at the top. However, had I noticed that player, what unfolds for the rest of this defense could have been a lot better, because essentially now that I don't focus in on him, and I also didn't notice him, so no one knows he's there, he's going to come in behind us while I'm trying to go out on top, because we took down a soldier and they had to back out like immediately because they didn't push very well. So let's basically see what happens now. I'm going to unpause now. So I go out on top, I try and lay down the damage, but the scout comes in and 2-shots me. So we've now lost our demo, and we also lost a soldier in the meantime. So now that's PwR's cue to begin the repush. The scouts come in and take our focus. The heavies come in and essentially clean up. There's only Fishu left. and he can't stay alive long enough to allow X-Fane to block the point. So that was my bad, basically there. You need to always keep an eye on any possible way they can come from you if it's not being watched. There was no reason for me not to have seen the scout other than bad attention paying. So I don't hit my jumps perfectly here, but I've noticed Matthew's quite slow on this map so far, so I'm not too worried. I should still beat him to the point. And I do. But it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference being that much quicker on this map. It's just such a long, like I said it time and time again, it's a long point. I get some good damage down on the soldiers. Our combo goes in. Sorry, our soldier jumps in. We gain presence, but not many kills thus far. But now we are starting to pick up the kills because we have them pushed back. We have them out of position. They're on the slope. They can't. Soldiers are not very good on slope because they can't fire rockets up. So yeah, we have height advantage. Thus they lose the point, even though we didn't make many kills in the initial aggression. It's, as far as I'm aware, we don't have any players alive. It's me and Miralyn. I have Uber. They lost their medic, but we don't want to go in because essentially we don't want to have to Uber on 2. We want to take 2 without using the Uber so we can Uber straight into last. So rather than go and make a risk, I wait for the team and then we head over to 2. Again, it's 3-1. We have no reason to be playing a fast-paced game at the moment. When we have the advantages, we'll take them, but we don't need to do anything drastic to make advantages. I spam this medic here. I don't actually hit anything, but it slows him down enough for X-Fane to get in and do the damage. I get a lucky spam kill, but X-Fane probably would have finished him off. I was like, my part there was essentially to slow them down. Obviously, I always want the shots to land, but worst case scenario is they had to be distracted by dodging them, and that allowed X-Fane to get in, take down the medic. That made for an exemplary push. Raha. So it's 4-1 now. The game's about to go a bit downhill for us. It's the same old mid-fight. Essentially, the demo's slow, I'm quick, but there's not much means of utilising it. Because you're so vulnerable on the point to the scouts. Go aggressive, the soldier does, but then he gets out so not to die. Another soldier jumps, but he gets air-gibbed. That's not what you expect. Obviously it happens, but whenever you jump in, you always expect to deal damage. It didn't happen, so we lost the player uselessly, essentially. Nothing that can be done about it. Sometimes you just get, you get out-aimed, and there's nothing you can do about it. Once again, the combo's hiding, as you can see in the left house. Their team don't see it, so we get them to Uber. We don't use our Uber for a long time. So now X-Fane should get some clean-up frags as they try and get out, because even though he's basically alone, with just the rest of his team, me and Leon are now coming out to help him, he had almost an entire Uber duration with a team in the completely out of position, so hurrah indeed. He goes down eventually, but they lost significant players there, so we're going to try and see what we can do on mid now. There's just one soldier, he goes down quite easily. The demo's on point, he's alone, we want him to go down. Yeah. That's quite bad play from PwR, they're all over the place, they're not together. They haven't got an advantage and they're all spaced out, letting us pick them off one by one. I go aggressive here, I expect my team to follow me up a bit more than they do. The medic gets there and saves me, like, but I really expected the soldier to be right behind me. A little bit of miscommunication, I'm not entirely sure why he wasn't, but the fact is he wasn't. Once again, I'm getting in. The soldier follows me this time, so we're going to try and do something here. We don't get a whole lot done. We take down a couple of players, we lose a couple of players, but we use a whole Uber without really locking down the point. We have players behind, we have players coming from in front. It's not a good spot to be in, and we're going to pay the price for it, basically. The signs were all there early on in that push that it wasn't going well. The scout behind, when you don't kill significant players, and then you have a player behind focusing on you and distracting you, you're never in a good position. Essentially, once that push went bad, we should have just gone backwards. We shouldn't have just turned around and shot the scout. We should have all moved backwards out of the point. I'm essentially giving up 2. We've lost too many. We've all just spawned on last, basically, so there's no point going into 2. Make a trap on top. Doesn't do anything, though. Scout. It was more just an experiment. a trap than actually hoping for real kills. As you can see, it fails. They Uber though. Maybe they saw the stickies and got scared. Who knows? Maybe they just decided to Uber. We have no Uber to defend with. I try and stay alive as long as possible and do a little bit of damage, but I'm always a key target as a demo man, so I don't expect to live without falling into respawn. But I stayed alive long enough so that they had to essentially use the Uber to focus on me rather than killing me quickly and moving on to other players. So we actually managed to hold that in the end, because our combo maintained height advantage. So once Uber came off, PwR weren't really in a position to do anything. We have Uber now. They don't have Uber, so really we should be thinking about pushing. But because we have such a significant lead in the game, we might just not, or we might even wait for some picks. They get Uber again and repush. I take down a scout very luckily. It was a blind detonation essentially. I know it's X-Fane shooting something there, so I'll just make sure nothing's flanking us. Yeah, there's a soldier there. That was some drastic miscommunication with X-Fane. He wasn't coming exactly what he was doing there. He was just kind of idly shooting at the corridor. I assumed that because he'd stopped shooting and wasn't actually going in there that it was taken care of, but it wasn't, so I go in and die. So once again, in traditional obscure style, they've Ubered in for the third time in a row without taking the point. I'll take down the medic. He obviously didn't notice the stickies when he tried to fall out. Bit of a cheap kill, but I'll take them when you give them to me. I get taken down a bit daftly. It's going to hinder our ability to push out now. That was the opportunity we were waiting for. We picked their medic. I got a little bit carried away though. Went just a little bit ahead of my team. Scout punished me for it. They just lost both soldiers though. But frags are going off everywhere, so it'll be a bad idea to push now, especially going back to the low risk factor. I really need to start laying down some spam here, because the demo's putting pressure on us, so that's what I finally do. Took me a bit longer than it should have though. We just had our medic picked, which is absolutely retarded. If I remember correctly, Miralin had a lag spike just then, just as we tried to move out on them. So that's really bad luck. Miralin can't quite take down the whole team by himself, so we lose a round. Sentry almost had it, but not quite. So once again, it's a mid-fight, it's an obscure mid-fight. We're playing the same strategy, again. It's not really the most creative mid-fight for us. We don't have a whole lot of tricks up our sleeve. Medic comes from the far left this time, so that's a new thing that PwR are doing. They all cluster together, and I spam them down, and they get punished because of it. They stood way too close together in a really key like spam position. That area between the boxes and the middle door is probably the best place to nade spam, from at least the balcony position that I take up. You can always land your nades there, a perfect like splash range, like the right height, so that it splashes everyone, rather than just doing like a little bit of damage above them, as sometimes happens. So we take the point, they Uber out. We're slightly more prepared for it this time. After some bad pipe aim, my scout takes down the medic. The soldiers come out, but it's a mess. It's just a frag fest here. The soldiers come aggressive, we try and defend it. We don't do a good job of it, and they hit more shots than us basically.
The control point is being captured.
It's just one of those things. If you let it degenerate into a frag battle, as we did there, it's all about who hits the shots. And PwR Gaming have some of the best death matches in terms of soldiers and scouts, particularly anyway. Not to say bad about Mafu's fantastic demo, but their soldiers and scouts are probably the best in Europe. So at least in terms of death matching. So it's not a good idea to let the game go that way against PwR. But that's what we did there, and we paid 2 control points for it. They push, we know we can't defend, but for some reason we're staying in anyway, and we just lost 5 players. 4 players even. We somehow kept Uber though. Why we decided to lose 4 players but not commit with our Uber, it's a fact that escapes me at the moment. Must be one of those official pressure kind of moments. We got Uber forced on last. They don't use their Uber when we use our Uber, so they essentially Ubering on us and kill a lot of our players. That's embarrassing, but yeah, not much I could do there even if I had hit the medic. I was 1 shot from death and the soldier was on the point. So I think this is the last round now. It's 4-3. We went from a 4-1 lead to PwR now playing for a draw. Once again, it's the same old mid battle. Not hardly the most fascinating game in terms of mid fights, but obscure rarely is. I saw the medic in a bad position, so I moved in on him to try and not so much kill him, but there was only one way for him to get in a position where his soldiers could be aggressive and receive heals at the same time. So I was basically trying to trap him off, get him out of the game there, make his soldiers either have to drop to go below him, or leave the medic alone. Unfortunately though, I backed up into a load of stickies of Mafu's. So what in theory could have been a nice piece of play was countered by Mafu, so I went down. We'd already lost a soldier at that time, so we lost the mid battle. Even though I think in theory we can hold 2 here. Oh, we're actually going to hold 2. Yeah, we hold 2 apparently, but we take a long time to force a Uber. So now we basically have just delayed their push to last. Even though we don't lose so many people, we get really out of position and I go really weak, so I can't be useful. And once the demo is out of the action, you lose a lot of your presence, so we'll just drop back. Essentially there, that achieved nothing. We Ubered, we made them Uber, and they Ubered, we Ubered. There. Even though we didn't save the point, we didn't take too much of a loss. We lost a couple of guys, but they respawned before they had time to push. And so basically now we're playing the clock game. They need to push quickly, but we made them use their Uber on 2, so now they have to rebuild it before they can push properly. As you see, they're slow pushing here because they know that time's not on their side, and when you're holding out like we are, that's the best way to make your opponents play. Make them have to take risks that they don't really want to take. As you can see, that's the end of the game. We won it 4-3 with the skin of our teeth basically. So that's my first demo. I hope it gave you an idea of how I play, and hopefully I'll go into some more in-depth things for future videos. This was Kaidus for My Gaming Edge. I hope you enjoyed it.